Hello, everybody. It's me, Shannon Lover here. I am live and loving it tonight. Welcome to Sunday Night Live, where we explore the principles that allow us to thrive in change. And I'm talking about little change, big change, changes that we want, changes that come out of nowhere and blindside us. It is not just possible, it is real. It's oh, how do I want to put it? It's not pie in the sky to imagine that even in the midst of very intense change that we can grow and thrive as a person. And we're going to explore some of those things tonight that allow us to grow in intentional ways, grow in areas that we are passionate about. How do we manage change for ourselves, the change we want? Goals are change that we want. How do we manage ourselves? What do we need to do as we approach our goals, approach our dreams, approach our hopes and growth? We're going to talk about that. Three components tonight that we're going to cover, and I cannot wait to share them with you. If you have never been on Sunday Night Live, if you've never tuned in, welcome. I'm delighted to have you. And I want you to type in hello in the comments. Let us know you're here. Let us know where you're from. Let me double check and make sure that everything is here. Let's see. Okay, good. Wanted to be sure that there's a new symbol that popped up in my screen, and it seemed to indicate that the Wi-Fi was messed up, but it was actually telling me that the Wi-Fi was good. Yay! So anyway, want to give a shout out to a faithful sponsor of Sunday Night Live, and that is Thumb Roast Coffee, my favorite coffee ever. I'm not just saying that because they sponsor Sunday Night Live. They actually, I was an avid Thumb Roast coffee drinker before they ever decided to sponsor Sunday Night Live. Now I just get the opportunity to brag on them to you. And I encourage you, if you enjoy coffee, if you love it, go to thumbroastcoffee.com. Check out the different roasts they have, the different beans, where they come from, learn a little bit about specialty coffee, and they make it so simple there. And use the coupon code THRIVE when you check out. You'll get delicious coffee sent right to your mailbox, and you'll get 15% off. And what's not to like about that? I recommend my current favorite right now that I'm drinking is Sanilac Sunrise. It is perfect. It's a breakfast blend. It's got that little extra kick that you might like in the morning, and it's delicious. So I encourage you to go there. You will not be sorry. Let's see. Oh, hey, Denise, I'm glad you're here. Carol, I'm glad you were able to jump on. Thanks for saying hi. We've got a few new people I know that plan to tune in. I had a wonderful time yesterday morning at Woodside Church Lapeer campus doing a vision board workshop with their ladies there. And we had a great time. They were super excited by it. They really leaned in about, I don't know, just embracing some of the fun dreams that they have for 2022, the hopes, and putting that on a vision board and getting that out of here and out of here and onto something that they can see in a visual reminder every day. So powerful. It was wonderful. I was delighted to be able to do it. And I'm looking forward to welcoming them to Sunday Night Live. So welcome. If you are a first-time visitor, please let us know. Say hi. Tell us where you're from. Can't wait to get to know you better. All right, let's see. We're ready to start. And our Thrive principle tonight is trust the process. Trust the process. We are going to talk about, for sure, for real, a process tonight. And so you might want to take notes of the three components that we can control that accelerate change in our lives. The three components that we can control that accelerate change in our life, the change that we want. So I'm not going to make you hold your breath. I'm not going to, try to hold out on you. I'm going to get them out there, 1, 2, 3. And then you guys can kind of lean in as we explore each one of them. All right. Are you ready? All right, these are the things when we have a change we want, when we have a goal we want to reach, when we have, whether that's a financial goal, a spiritual goal, an educational goal, there's so many goals that we can have, right? And last week on Sunday Night Live, we talked about minding the gap, that there are gaps that prevent us from reaching those goals. It's not gaps in our plan, it's gaps in our growth. It's that we aren't the people that we need to be in order to actually handle the goal that we say we want. So we have to close those gaps. So let's talk a little more about how we do that. And there are three components that will help us to close the growth gap that we have between where we are now and the dream that we say we want, the goal that we say we want to accomplish. These are the three components. We have to have intentional, focused, and consistent growth opportunities. We have to be intentional, we have to be focused, and we have to be consistent. When we combine intentionality with focus, and we do that consistently, we will see change happen. And if we leave out those components, we might see change happen, but it might take a lot longer, or it will be in areas that are not helpful, that maybe aren't the areas that we actually need to grow in. So let's talk a little bit about the first one. And we're using the hashtag trust the process tonight. That's our Thrive principle that we're leaning into. And this is definitely a process. When I was a new leader, my first official leadership opportunity, my first title, was when my husband and I became youth leaders. And I was an official leader. I'd done things, student council. I'd done some things in school that I was a leader. But when I look back, this was the first time that I had one of those titles and a real sense of responsibility that I was in control of what was going on there. And I really wanted to do well. I really did. And I had no clue. And I also had no sense of what I didn't know. I did not have any idea what I didn't know. I didn't know what I didn't know. I didn't know what I didn't know. This is an issue. This is an issue always when we have change that we want to see happen in our lives. Sometimes we don't know what we don't know. And if we assume that we know everything, we stand to be sorely surprised. And I learned, and I've shared some of the stories with you over the years. I learned the hard way that I did not know what a good leader actually looked like. I was copying people that had leadership styles that did not match mine and that they weren't actually highly effective. But that was all I'd seen. And so I thought I needed to do it that way. And I didn't know what I didn't know. I didn't know that I had gaps until I started to lead. And I was trying to get a bunch of teenagers to listen to me. And they pretty much just blew me off, refused to do a thing that I said. And I realized, I need to rethink my approach here, because just bossing them around like I bossed my siblings. I was the oldest of 6 children and I ruled the roost. Wasn't the same when I was in a leadership position. I had to learn. I had to learn the hard way that there were things I didn't know. And then I had to figure out, how do I get the training, the skills I need to actually be effective as a leader. And I got just enough to get me by. I quit trying to boss the kids and I started talking to them more, asking them more questions. It worked out well. I wasn't as directive and it was fine. And so I thought I was a really good leader. And then I became a leader at work. And I focused all of my attention as a leader on how I looked to people. How did I appear? So I made sure I dressed appropriately. I made sure that all of the materials that I put out looked professional. I made sure that my grammar was good. I dotted the I's and crossed the T's. And I was supposed to be teaching people how to communicate, and I spent all of my time teaching them how to communicate instead of actually communicating. A leadership fail. Bam. Fell flat on my face, lost that position, lost the opportunities that came with it, not just for me to have good things happen in my life, but for the people that I was leading because it was a new program. Again, I didn't know what I didn't know. Fast forward a few more years. I finally figured it out, you guys. I figured it out. If I wanted to lead well, which was a goal of mine, I wanted to be a leader, I wanted to be effective, I needed to get better at leading. I needed to be intentional about being a good leader, finding out what it was, finding out what it wasn't. So that was my goal. Now, for all of my career, my career before I became a business owner, for all of my career, I pretty much counted on my bosses to tell me where I was going to be trained. They would say, "Oh, Shannon, you're in this position as a communications person, so we need you to go and learn about communication. Oh, Shannon, you're in this position, you're a secretary, you need to go and learn how to take minutes." Other people were telling me where I needed to go to get trained. And I appreciated that, and I'm glad for the skills that I learned. But as I look at that, and I encourage you to look at your life, if somebody else is providing your training, they are doing that based on their agenda. And that's not a bad thing. That's probably what they're supposed to do, right? Like, hey, if they've got an employee, they know that person needs some skills. They're gonna make sure you get those skills because they want you to do the job. But what happens when that's not your goal? What happens when your goal isn't to get better at being a secretary? You actually want to be a leader in your organization. What happens then? That's not always their agenda. And so I started to understand that if I wanted to become the person of influence that I dreamed of being, I was going to have to intentionally choose to develop myself. Does that make sense? So as I'm throwing that out there to you guys, I'm curious, when have you intentionally chosen to invest in yourself, to gain a skill, to meet people, to go to school, to look for a different job? When have you intentionally decided to pursue something because it was something you wanted, that you dreamed of? It's important that we are intentional about what we do. For us to accelerate change in our lives, we have to be intentional about it. Intentional about what we're doing to bring that goal into fruition, to bring that change to pass. The second thing is we have to be focused. So we have to be intentional, choose wisely. What do I want? What skills do I want to gain to close the gap between me and my goal? Or maybe it's character issues, right? Not skills like I want to type better or I want to be able to podcast. How about I want to be more mature. I want to respond more professionally when people disagree with me. I want to fill in the blank. Where do you see a gap where you can say intentionally, I need to close that gap? Closing that gap requires intentionality. It's not going to happen by accident. Well, I shouldn't say that. Sometimes it does. It just takes a long time. How long do you want to wait to get to your goal? How long are you willing to, how much time are you willing to squander while you wait for somebody else to notice that you have a gap that needs to be filled? When you, as a leader of yourself, can decide, I need to do something about this. I need to get better at fill in the blank to close this gap. So we have to be intentional. We have to be focused. I don't know about you. I have no interest in going to a dentist who took one class a year for 20 years. I just am not interested. There's something about that says, are you really focused on dentistry? I mean, that took a really long time. That might be an extreme example, but there is something to be said for focusing, being intentionally focused on, I am going to grow in this area. I am going to get my doctorate. I am going to get my associate's degree. I am going to learn to speak Spanish, whatever it is. Choosing it intentionally based on our agenda for our lives, what you choose for you, the gap you know you want to close, intentionally choosing and then focusing, not being scattershot about it. Hi, Mary, I'm glad you're here, and it's okay. You are never late. You are always right on time. Intentionality, focus, and consistency. Not just focused on, I'm going to be in this arena, but focusing on it consistently accelerates change in our lives. When I decided that I wanted to become a business owner and that what I wanted to do was equip people to lead themselves and others well, I wanted to be able to speak to them. I wanted to help companies to have better group interactions, better employee engagement, help leaders to be more effective at what they do, and help leaders be more effective at leading themselves so that they could continue to expand their capacity. When I decided to do that, I had to be intentional and focused and consistent in order to equip myself to achieve that goal. And the way I chose to do it was to find a training program and a mentorship program that allowed me to intentionally focus on expanding my leadership skills and my understanding of how to lead myself and others. That program, I'm a John Maxwell certified coach for those of you who don't know. That program accelerated my ability to reach my goal 100-fold because I was consistently getting training, getting input, having conversations, participating in masterminds, all focused on one topic: how to lead myself well and how to equip others to lead themselves well. It was all focused on leading. And that's what I wanted to be. The beautiful thing about that is when we focus on being a better leader, we can apply all those skills in so many different arenas. But I had to choose to focus on it. And let me tell you that when I started focusing on being a better leader of myself and other people and intentionally, consistently exposing myself to that, my influence expanded exponentially. The combination of choosing what I wanted to focus on, focusing on it, and focusing on it consistently caused things to blow up. If you are frustrated because you feel like you're not getting anywhere, this is your solution. Intentionally choose the gap you want to close. Focus on it. Don't be distracted by all kinds of other things that are good for you to do. Don't focus on being a jack. Well, focus. Don't avoid focusing by a little bit here and a little bit there. If you really want to see a change happen, you have to intentionally focus on it and consistently do something with it. That's the key. If you are in a hurry for the change that you want to see happen, take a look at who you need to be in order for that change to be in your life. Who do you need to be to have that position, to wield that influence, to be able to accomplish that goal? Not just what are the steps, who do you need to be? That growth piece is huge. We have to focus on our growth intentionally and consistently so that we expand our capacity. And we haven't talked about that word. I don't know that I've ever done just a focused training on our capacity and expanding it. But that is essentially what we're talking about here. When we commit to consistently growing in an area, we expand our capacity in that area. we expand our skills, we expand our ability, we expand our sphere of influence through intentional, focused, and consistent growth. Bam. Carol's got this to say. Thank you. Intentional plus focus and do it consistently. Sounds like today what I'm hearing is let some more things go. Oh, yeah, that's powerful, isn't it? Let some more things go so I can concentrate on the things that mean the most to me and where I may have the most influence and enjoyment. Yes, our no is so powerful. And we have to be able to say no, right, Carol? We have to be able to say no if we are going to focus. The person who says yes to everything is the person who is not focusing. If you are that person who never says no, you will not be able to focus and be consistent because other people's agenda takes over yours. It's like handing the reins to your life to other people, and they have no idea what you want or what you're called to do or what your purpose is or what. It's okay for you to take back control of your life and start weeding out the things that are distracting, that aren't allowing you to have the impact that you want to have and be the influence you want to be. Carol says, not focusing and maybe not happy. Yeah. Sometimes we wonder, why am I so unhappy? Why do I feel unfulfilled? And I know when I'm coaching my clients, and this may not apply to you, but maybe it will. If it does, I receive it. Many times when I am coaching my clients, they'll present the first thing they say is, you know what, I just feel unfulfilled. I just feel unfulfilled. Well, as we start exploring that issue, this idea that I'm not fulfilled, I don't have a sense of accomplishment in my life. Many times it's because we have not allowed ourselves to focus on an area long enough to make a noticeable difference. That's the power of intentionally choosing, focusing, and being consistent in the area where we want to grow. Because when we do that, we actually see our progress. It's not like it took 25 years for us to learn to do a thing. We accelerate our growth by being intentional, being focused, and being consistent. Without those things, the change that we say we want in our lives can take decades. Sometimes it never happens. But when we decide, I'm going to choose what I want, where I want to go, right? The change I want in my life, I'm going to choose it. And we intentionally start developing ourselves in that area so that we can be the people who can do the thing we say we want to do. And we do that consistently with intense focus. Amazing things happen. So those are the three components. They're not hard, but they do require commitment. And I invite you to look at your life. Look at where you want to be over the next 12 months. Where would you like to be at the end of 2022? How are you going to make sure that you are prepared to get there? Where in your life are you intentionally focusing and consistently growing? What arena would you like to intentionally grow in? Think about that. Think about that. And then what are some ways that you can incorporate that into your life? Whether it's taking classes, joining a coaching program, what is it worth to you to accelerate the change that you want to see in your life? Is it worth taking some time to get to the bottom of it, to really understand, what do I want? Invest that time. Be intentional about it. And then focus and do what you're doing consistently and watch that change start to blossom in your world. Any comments before we wrap up? I've got a little bit of extra time here, but I'd love to hear, what's been your experience? What's been your experience with focus? I wonder this is an interesting question. When did you ever experience something where you realized, oh, I didn't know what I didn't know? I did not know that I did not know about fill in the blank. Have you ever done that? Run into that thing where you were caught by surprise. As we as leaders of our own lives, as we grow in our ability to communicate with people, connect with people, deal with relationships, uh, hold ourselves accountable, keep the promises we make to ourselves. As we grow in those areas, it is incredible the good that we can do in our world and in the circles of influence where we've chosen to use our talents and our gifts. Incredible things happen. All right, you guys. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for listening, for leaning in. And I want to encourage you, if you have not signed up for the free mastermind, Dealing with Difficult People, Livestream Leadership is putting on a free open mastermind. You are welcome to come and learn what a mastermind looks like when I'm facilitating it. Sign up. It's free. The link is at the Thrive and Change page. It's under the featured articles. It's at the top when you go. It's the first thing you see when you go to the Thrive and Change page. Or you can go to livestreamleadership.com and you'll be able to find out more about the free mastermind, Dealing with Difficult People. I would love for you to be there. I'm not exaggerating when I say the principles that we talk about are really life-changing, and you will not be sorry that you came. Carol says, thank you for continuing to make me think. It is always an honor and my pleasure. And with that, I wish you all a wonderful week. Lead yourself well. Think about, what do you need to intentionally do to grow in the area that you need to grow, to be the person you need to be, to have the things you say you want. Be intentional, be focused, and be consistent. Take care. Bye.